Emily.
And welcome to Kindness Inspires Kindness, our senior project.
All right. All right, so our inquiry question going into our project was, what does the inner workings of creating and running a small business look like? So our goal was to create a successful business through selling t-shirts, tote bags, crew necks, and stickers where 100% of the profits go back to Caden's Kitchen. We were able to do this except for the stickers, and throughout the next few slides, we will show you our process. So we were both business majors next year, and as our senior project, we wanted to see the inner workings of a small business. We knew we wanted to create a website, so our first order of business was finding someone to screen print for us. The idea was brought to us about working with Caden's Kitchen. The more we looked into it, the more we wanted to make it happen. A little bit about Caden's Kitchen. They're a food pantry in Lewiston, helping those who struggle with food insecurity. They also offer a wide variety of household items, clothing, and toys. People coming into Caden's Kitchen with nothing can get anything they need for no cost. Caden's Kitchen receives funding from many different organizations and businesses in order to stay afloat, such as Walmart and Lamy Willinghams. So we had to do some work prior to this month, including getting in contact with Kevin and proposing to him our idea. So Kevin is basically the owner of Caden's Kitchen. His daughter, Caden, started this organization, and he was screen printing for us. So he agreed to print all of our products in exchange for 100% of the profits. So now that he agreed, we needed to get started on our logo. We wanted to make something that represented both Maine and Caden's Kitchen, which is why we chose the state of Maine with a heart where Lewiston is. Kindness inspires kindness is the motto that they use there at Caden's Kitchen. When thinking about the appearance of our products, we wanted something that was gender neutral so that it would appeal to everyone. So we decided on a pre-sale for our project, so we needed to come up with a timeline to figure out all of the dates. We needed to know when we would need the sample items by, when we would need to finalize and go live on our website, and when we would need to close all sales. Another thing we had to figure out was the amount of each product that we needed. Emily and I each wanted a t-shirt and a sweatshirt. We had 5 teachers who were gonna buy a t-shirt, and then we also needed some products to take pictures of for our website. So we went around the school and asked some teachers to buy our products, and all of them agreed, thankfully. The next thing we had to figure out was pricing. So we had some communication with Kevin about how much it cost to make each product, and we priced our items accordingly so that Caden's Kitchen would make a profit. The main idea of the pre-sale was just to be able to promote our products before they would officially go on sale to the public.
So social media was another big way that we promoted all of our items. The first thing that we did was we created an Instagram account. This was our main form of social media. We did a little photo shoot of all of our items. This was to get people interested and excited for what was to come. We also made sure to repost everything on both of our personal Instagram accounts, just again to gain more attraction and overall buzz to all of the items. Over the past 4 weeks, we also kept track of our Instagram insights. So the first week, this is like the beginning of the first week, there isn't much going on. We weren't really posting, we were just kind of getting the hold of everything. Second week, you can see there was a huge spike in attraction. This is because we were posting a lot, getting people excited. Third week, again, a little bit of a jump, but not too crazy. And then that fourth week, there was a huge drop. This is because in the final week, we already stopped our online sales, so we weren't posting as much on our Instagram, so less people were attracted to it. Another thing that we used our Instagram for, not only to promote our products, but also our food drive.
So in addition to giving 100% of our profits back to Caden's Kitchen, we also decided to do a food drive. We ended up getting each school in the RSU5 involved, and we put up a box and a poster for donations at each school. We went weekly to check on donations and just gathered them all and brought them back to one of our houses. We had a little bit of a struggle with communication though, so we weren't allowed to send out an email home to parents, and it's kind of hard to rely on young kids to go home and tell their parents about a food drive and then bring in food. So that is why we didn't get as many donations as we would have hoped at some of the schools. That said, we were able to make some posts on some community Facebook pages about our food drive, so that definitely helped a lot. So our biggest successes were from Freeport High School and Freeport Middle School. Even though only 2 schools brought in a majority of the items, the food drive was still a huge success, and we got 218 items donated. We want to just give a special thank you to Freeport Middle School, especially Ms. Vonier and Nancy.
So as for our website, we looked a lot online for what platform we wanted to use, and we found ISWID through YouTube. This is a free, easy-to-use website, and it had step-by-step direction videos, which was very useful for both of us since neither of us are tech-savvy. But for the website itself, we wanted it to have a really aesthetic, clean look. So going on our website here, we really wanted the main focus to be the products and nothing else. So the home page, your eye automatically is drawn to what we're wearing. Scrolling down, a white background surrounding the 3 products that we were selling, and then the informative aspect of our website. The Why Choose Us is all about Caden's Kitchen, as well as a link to their Facebook page so people could learn more or donate if they wanted to, and about us, about Emily and I, and basically why we chose this senior project, and then some contact information and a link to our Instagram, because like we said, social media was a really big thing for us. Some issues with our website though. So payment, we didn't take any credit or debit cards. We only did Venmo or cash at delivery. This was a little bit of a struggle because when creating the website, there was no way for us to add that option. So customers had to leave a little customer note at the bottom at checkout, and not everybody remembered to do that or even knew that they had to. So we then had to reach out to them and kind of figure it all out. Another issue was our tote bag. So we unfortunately did not get a picture or a description of the bag until 2 days left of our website sale. So this was a little disappointing because we definitely lost some potential orders there. However, our website was very successful. It did extremely well, definitely more so than either of us thought it would have. And there was just a lot of attraction, but the specific details of the website will come up in a little bit.
Okay, so selling products. The main way we used to sell products was through promoting. So we had the teachers, like I said earlier, wearing our t-shirts. Emily and I went out in public a lot, just wearing our t-shirts. We actually got a few compliments and questions where we got our things, so that was pretty cool. And our biggest way of promoting our products was through our social media Instagram page by just making posts, stories, and reposting on our Instagram pages. So once we went live on our website, orders came rolling through, and we used a spreadsheet with things like their address, their order number, what they ordered, and just a way to contact them. And we had to keep up with sending these confirmation emails each time we got an order in, just to let them know that their order was received, and we also just did a lot of answering customer questions. So these are the reports from our website. Overall, we've raised $1,678 for Caden's Kitchen, and we received a total of 49 orders, so that was pretty cool.
So as for delivery, prior to all of the products coming in, we had to order packaging. We wanted our packaging to be sustainable as well as reliable, so we found compostable packaging off of Amazon that actually worked out really well. We also ordered thank you cards, so writing all the thank you cards definitely was time consuming. However, it was definitely worth it because we wanted to fully express our gratitude to each and every customer for shopping with us. As for once we got the shipment in, it was a lot of folding, organizing, and counting. Once we knew that we had everything that we needed to, we could proceed with packaging everything. So we had a little system. We would grab our thank you card, find the name on the spreadsheet, get those items, package it, and then put a sticker on it. Once everything was packaged, we separated it into boxes corresponding with the towns that people lived in to make it a little bit easier for ourselves on delivery day. Packaging everything took about a day or so to complete. And then in that top picture, you can see the boxes. So as for delivery, prior to actually going out, we made a map of where everybody lived to try and make it easy on ourselves. This didn't really work out because we ended up going down the same road like 3 times, and we also had issues with pulling up directions in Freeport, so we got lost a couple times too. But it all worked out and everyone got their orders, so yay. But this also took about a day or so to complete. So, some takeaways. Emily and I were able to work on our time management skills over this past month, not only juggling multiple aspects of our project at a time, but also we were creating and running a business while still working our other jobs and doing a sport. We also learned how to communicate professionally in various ways. So, text and email, like most of us like to do, but we also learned the importance of picking up the phone and actually giving somebody a call. We also realized how strong of a community is around us, whether it was through our products or our food drive. Everybody was so supportive, and it was just really nice to have.
Another thing we realized was the reality of food insecurity around us. A lot of people don't realize how bad it really is, and we just encourage everyone to be aware of it, and if they can, to try to do something about it. And another thing was we learned the importance of supporting small businesses. You don't really know the time and effort that goes into running a small business until you actually start one. So we're definitely more aware of that and are going to be more supportive of small businesses in the future.
So for thank yous, we wanted to thank you, Kevin. He's the head of Caden's Kitchen, like we said. Just thank you for working with us and supporting us over these past 4 weeks. Thank you to Ms. Blyer, our amazing project advisor, and also to help us prepare to be up here today through her public speaking class. Thank you, Ms. Levitt and Ms. Peterson, for putting senior projects together. Thank you to Molly Sanchin for her wonderful donation to senior projects. It helps us out a lot. Thank you to Mr. G, Mr. A, Ms. Goodspeed, and Mr. Willett for buying all of our pre-sale t-shirts and supporting us.
Thank you to Dee Dee Bonnell for posting about our food drive on the Facebook page Freeport Friends. Thank you to Ms. Hickey for printing our food drive posters for us. Thank you to Elizabeth Avasti for taking some photos for us for our Instagram page. Thank you to Ms. Fournier for all those donations from Freeport Middle School. And thank you to everyone who ordered and who brought in items for the food drive.
Questions? Yes.
Yes.
How did you get in touch with this organization?
Okay, so it's a little bit of a weird connection, but so my sister plays for this basketball organization called NBC, and the girl Kaden, whose father is Kevin, so she also plays for NBC, so we just had that connection from there, yeah.
What was your favorite aspect of the whole project? Like, what did you enjoy most?
So the question was, what was our favorite aspect of the project? Mine was probably like the social media aspect of it and posting everything and just getting people engaged. I really like that.
Yeah, I'd say the delivery process was also really rewarding because we were able to see how many people actually did order. It was pretty crazy.
Well, I guess the biggest struggle with our project was communication in a couple different ways. So just learning that the real world isn't as easy peasy get things done. So that was a little bit of a struggle,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, we were gonna volunteer at a place called Harrison Food Bank, but we weren't able to do that. So this summer, we're hoping to be able to go down a few days and volunteer there.
Yeah, and too, we wanted to volunteer at Caden's Kitchen itself, but they're currently moving locations, so they aren't taking any volunteers at the moment. So we would like to do that at some point too.
Well, good morning, everybody. My name's Ryan Galetta. Thank you all for being here. So my project was discovering the joy of sewing, learning to make clothing. So basically going into this project, I really wanted to just learn what it takes to get from nothing to a finished piece of clothing. And so going in, I really wanted to do this because growing up, my grandmother used to take us to Joann Fabrics. We could pick out a pattern, pick out a fabric, and she'd make us a new first day of school outfit or a Halloween costume. But I'd also never sewn clothing before. I'd sewn like cat toys, fixed holes in my clothing, but nothing like this. So my inquiry question going in was, how can I design and construct at least 6 articles of clothing with new fabric and thrifted clothes? So basically I had to map out a little process in order to get from nothing to a piece of clothing. So I learned that you should start with patterns. And then you move to fabric, pre-sewing, construction, and touch-ups. But we start at patterns and fabric. Basically, patterns are a template for you to cut out your clothing. It'll give you the puzzle pieces in order to put it all together and then come out with a piece of clothing. Basically, I bought all of my patterns off of Etsy. You order them, they come in your downloads, you print them off, cut them out, you cut them to your size, or you can fold them in order to make multiple pieces of clothing that are different sizes. For fabric, I used a lot of secondhand clothing. I went to Goodwill and I could grab anything really. But I found there was a lot of struggles with like using secondhand clothing because I didn't have enough clothing or fabric in order to yield some of my patterns. So I ended up buying some fabric as well from Joann Fabrics. It is very easier to buy fabric than it is to use secondhand clothing, so I was a little tempted after I did that once. But I also learned you need to follow your patterns correctly. It comes with the directions, along with the paper patterns you see there. You should follow those because it's going to make your life a lot easier. So I started out by making tank tops. Navy blue tank top is my tank top number 1, and tank top number 2 is that dusty pink one you see there. As you can see already, lots of differences. The second one's looking a lot better. Basically, when I did my first one, I made a ton of mistakes. I had already made a mistake cutting it. I learned what cutting on a fold meant. That means you need to fold the fabric in order for you to come out with a full front piece of your tank top or full back piece of your tank top. So the first time I did it, I ended up with 2 front pieces. One of them was backwards, so it just wasn't going to work out right. But then this is when I learned that you need to follow the directions, because I ended up sewing all the pieces together thinking that was how it was supposed to go. Next thing I know, I look at the pattern and nothing's working out correctly. So I had to start over, and that's how I came up with tank top number 2. And I was really happy with this one. It went a lot quicker because I was able to already know exactly what I was going to do. So this was tank top number 2 and tank top number 1. And as you can see too, especially in the pictures, it has that kind of slouch down. That's when I learned that obviously you need to sew sleeves a little bit further in, unless they're going to fall off your shoulders. I also made a t-shirt. So this one did kind of have a number 1 and number 2. The first one didn't get as far though. And as you can see on that picture on the wood background, in the top, I actually brought it with me. You can see that there was not enough fabric on the neckband to fit the hole on the neck hole, if you will. And that's kind of when I learned that I might have went a little jumped a little far for this project. It was a big step that I didn't know I was gonna go for. But in my t-shirt number 2, my mom did help me a little bit with this one. But I will say the fabric did help a lot on this as well because it was a stretchier fabric. I was able to stretch it as I went along when I did the neckband. And I ran into the same problem a little bit with the sleeves actually, where it's almost like you have too much fabric on one side than the other. But everything came out really well. And as you can see, I'm wearing the t-shirt today, so it did come out good. Those are just a couple more pictures. I have the patterns up there. I wore the tank top and the shorts I will talk about. I wore it to dinner with my family. So those were the pieces at the top, those navy blue tank top pieces that I thought I was doing correctly, but I wasn't. Oh, and that's the turtleneck that I made the first tank top out of. But the next thing I made were the shorts. And this is when I finally felt like, oh, I'm like getting the hang of this. Like, sewing's not that hard. But it is still. And I learned that when I got to the elastic waistband. If you have a 2.5-inch elastic band to fit through a 3-inch channel, you'd think it'd be easy. But I was sitting there for like 15 minutes just shimmying it through the channel. Because what you have to do is you have to fold down the top of the shorts, and I'll kind of show you here. You have to fold it down and sew it so you make a channel for the elastic waistband. You can see it kind of back there. Shimmy it through, you make a little hole, and then you pull it out and you sew it a bunch of times so your elastic band doesn't break. But I was really happy with the shorts, and they're super comfy, and I can't wait to wear them. But I also made a skirt, and also it's the skirt I'm wearing today. The fabric didn't come from clothes, so I will give myself that. It wasn't worth the headache to find a piece of clothing so big that it could fit my skirt pattern, because the skirt pattern was pretty big. As you can see on the top there, it was a lot of pieces. Most of those you had to fold too. As for the shorts, I made them out of a t-shirt that I found at Goodwill. That was easier. I didn't have to worry about cutting on a fold. So, and as you can see, that's the skirt, like, right before I put the zipper on and made, like, some of the finishing touches. But I will say with the skirt, the really hard was the zipper. And it was the first time I'd ever done a zipper. And as you can see on the side here, this is also an invisible zipper, so you have your, like the zippers you see on a jacket where you can see the ridges on the outside. This one, it has all the ridges on the inside. So you had to turn it inside out like 5 times, basically. And then I made a dress. So this dress, it was kind of just like a little challenge for me because I didn't have a lot of fabric. All the fabric came from that skirt you see I got it at Goodwill. I also didn't have a full pattern. So the only pattern I had for this was the pattern to a halter top. But I'd seen that dress on Instagram, and I was like, I love it. I'm going to make it. Like, we'll figure out how to make it work. But I really want that dress. But unfortunately, with the fact that I didn't have a lot of fabric, I wasn't able to make it like the flowy skirt I wanted, and it ended up being a little bit of a tighter fit. I really like this picture up in the top corner. It's like the dress halfway through the progress, or the process. And that's like before paneling. So basically what I had to do with the dress was panel the skirt. So I did the halter top part of it first, just to get that out of the way. I knew what I was doing. It was going to be easy. And I wanted to wait on doing the paneling because it was hard to visualize before you actually sew it and see how it comes out. But sometimes once you sew it, there's no going back. So I wanted to make sure it's going to work. Some takeaways I had from this project. I really like sewing is what I kind of figured out, but I like it as a hobby. If you know me, I change what I want to do for a job about every other day. I'm very indecisive, but I figured out I could probably check this one off my list. I don't think I want to do it as a job, but I'd love it as a hobby because I love being creative, the fact that you can make anything you want out of any fabric, any pattern. I also enjoy the puzzle aspect. As I was touching on with the patterns, it's like you have all these puzzle pieces, and it's really fun to figure out how to put them together and come out with a final product. And I also learned learning a skill is really valuable. It's really difficult too. I really wanted to give up at the start. I was like, oh my God, I should never have done a senior project. This sucks. But once I saw the products come together, and I was so proud of myself. It was very rewarding, and now I think you definitely should do a senior project. I want to give a thank you to my mom and dad for the support. Definitely my mom for helping me throughout this whole project. Lindsay for letting me use her sewing machine. Mr. Dierberg for being my project advisor. Miss Blyer for my great public speaking skills. Miss Peterson and Miss Levitt for making senior projects all possible. Thank you. Any questions? Emily. A couple things. I had started the project, like I had made like double the ideas than what I had made, because I was like, oh, I changed my mind. I'm really indecisive. I really want to make bikinis, but it wasn't in the calendar. Anybody else? Miss Levitt? Yeah, definitely. When I went to Joann's to get the zipper for this, I obviously ended up going to look at all the fabrics, and I found a fabric, and I already bought 2 yards of it to make a blanket. So I definitely think I'll continue it. Miss Blyer.
So let's say somebody wanted a skirt like the one that you made. How long would it take you to make another skirt?
Probably, I think I worked on this like over like a night or two, or more than one night, 2 or 3. And so maybe like 2 hours, like if I like grind it out. I did think of that. Anybody else? Thank you.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Sophia, and this is my project, Is This What I Want to Do With My Life? So basically, this is documentation of me figuring out if I want to enter the business management world. By doing this, I shadowed the owner and general manager of Harris Teacup Lunch and Lobster, who also happened to be my dad and my grandmother. So as you can see, I have grown up around this business. On the picture to the left, I was probably around 3, and probably around 2 on the picture on the right. Although I grew up around it, I didn't exactly pay attention to what my grandma and my dad have achieved, but as I got older, I knew it was something great and something that I really wanted to someday achieve on my own too. So that was my first goal, to just figure out really if this is what I want to do. My second goal was to figure out or navigate more through the business management world before I entered it. I planned to go to school at USM to major in communications and a minor in business management, so I just really wanted to make sure I knew what I was getting myself into before I got into it. So week 1, I spent 3 days, so about 10 to 12 hours a day, with the owner of Harris Teacup, Regis. I got to the restaurant about 6:30 in the morning and didn't leave until about 7:30 at night, as I was working on top of shadowing. So this was a regular schedule for Regis, as she used to help out in the lobster pound when needed. It was very hard to convince Regis to collaborate with me on this because she's a very humble and private person. Not many people know that she is the owner, but now you all do. So, but personally, I think that she should be recognized for everything that she does and has accomplished for the restaurant these last 52 years. In the 3 mornings I was there, we made coconut and chocolate cream pies, seafood chowder, and most importantly, her famous whoopie pies. I'm holding a coconut cream pie on the right, and then these 3 pictures are me and my dad cutting pies, helping out. But this time of year for the restaurant is very, very, very unpredictable. We're either slammed one day or dead the next, so we didn't really do much in the morning. But as the season kind of picks up, that's where it really takes off. As we baked, I found out that surprisingly, whoopie pies are Regis's least favorite dessert to make. She said they either come out cracked, or they don't rise correctly, or they seriously just don't turn out the way that she wants, as she's a perfectionist and she cares about what she's putting out, which I appreciate a lot. I found that she also loves making the cream pies because they come out most of the time the same every single time, and she enjoys making them because they're so easy, kind of. I learned that the baking aspect of it all really wasn't what I envisioned myself doing. So in this case, the ownership aspect of this business wasn't really for me. So I was excited to move on to the next week and see what I could find throughout that. So week 2, I shadowed my dad, who's the general manager, Brendan. During my second week, I was on the same schedule as I was with Regis. So the 3 days, 10 to 12 hours a day. So instantly I realized that this is what I wanted to do. Everything was fast-paced, organized, there was a schedule for everything, and I loved that. Everything to do with a schedule, sign me up. So it takes Brendan about 3 hours in the morning to get everything prepped and get everything ready for the day. So I was there about 7 in the morning to 10:30 in the morning, and then I would work the rest of the day. And this was my absolute favorite thing. Like I said, anything to do with organizations, lists, schedules, I love all of it. So that was my favorite part, which I'm doing in the first 2 pictures. In the last 2 pictures, all the way to the right, Dad was showing me some lobsters before they needed to be graded, which is basically where you take a lobster and you weigh it, and you sort it into small, medium, large tanks. I didn't get to do that, but I still got to play with the lobsters before they were graded. So smalls weigh in from about 1 to 1.2 pounds, mediums weigh in at 1.21 to 1.4 pounds, and larges are 1.41 pounds and up. Although these tasks were repetitive, they kept me intrigued and engaged because it was the same thing every day, and I know that I could easily get into my own rhythm and just go with the flow with it. So These images are me setting up the register. It's literally a button. You just click it, open session or close session after you put the money in or take the money out. That's me writing on the board what we needed after taking inventory, and that's me calling in the change order to the bank. As many business owners have come to experience, there are complications. Mine so happened to be that I got COVID during the week of my interviews, so I just planned to bump my interviews to my next week, but unfortunately Brendan and Regis both got COVID as well, so I was unable to do that, which left me with one interview and locked in my room for 5 days. So I'm wearing a mask in all the images because this was me helping my dad out, put everything back on track at the restaurant after a little bump in the road. Something that worked, my work schedule. My schedule manager, Doug, he was amazing at making sure I could do this project, come in a little late rather than 9:30. He let me come in at 11, so that really worked. And also my coworker, Lindsay, not only picking up like all of my shifts when I had COVID, but also she was doing morning prep by herself so that I could come in later in order to do the project. Some challenges, Brendan and Regis were very hard to photograph with just because at 6 or 7 in the morning, it's just the two of us, and everything that I was doing was hands-on. So I didn't really get to stop and take a picture or a video or whatever. And also, COVID-19 did ruin a couple things. What I've learned, like I said, I was left with one interview. That was a business owner out in Saco. It was a bigger corporation versus our small family business. And they were very profit-driven, which is expected, and it's definitely worked for them. They have an amazing facility. And so I guess I'm grateful that I saw that side because I'm so used to Brennan and Regis being private and humble and all that. So I think I've found what type of business owner that I want to be, seeing those differences. I've learned that the baking aspect is really not what I'm interested in, but I've learned that the management part of it all I'm very interested in, so I'm really excited to get into that world. And I've learned that there are tasks that I really don't want to do that maybe I'll be in charge of one day. For example, maintaining the new generator. I had to stand outside with Brendan for a half hour, making sure that it did its weekly exercise for the full 30 minutes. So that was a little boring, but I did it. That was over with. Some skills from FHS, definitely communication. I've just learned to not be afraid to reach out to people, and I definitely wouldn't have been able to reach out to the business owner in Saco without a little bit of the communication skills that I've gained. Time management, definitely, keeping up on my homework, keeping up with my classes, all that kind of stuff kind of helped me to get my project done on time and just, yeah. And obviously public speaking, I wouldn't be able to do this calmly up here if I didn't take public speaking with Miss Blyer. Some thank yous, Regis Coffin and Brendan Alterio for letting me do this project on them. Miss Abbott for being my project advisor and giving me the support that I needed. Miss Blyer also for giving me the support that I needed, kind of giving me that push when I needed it. Miss P and Miss Levitt for putting on senior projects for us. My family for their support through it all. And FHS for the last 4 years. Questions? Miss Levitt?
Do you see yourself as a business owner one day?
I do, definitely. Now that I've seen all the management part of it all and all like the controlling part of it all, definitely.
Do you see yourself being involved in the family business?
Maybe. It depends how that works out. I guess we'll see.